Let's make a delicious and easy dinner. First, grab 2 pounds of stew meat, and you're going to season that really well with some steak seasoning. Then you're going to grab a large skillet, add just a little bit of oil to that, and you're going to sear this meat. And if you want, you can skip this step, but it does help get that meat nice and tender. Cook that until nice and browned on all sides. And now you're going to grab your crock pot out and then add that meat to your crock pot along with any of those juices. And this is also optional, but I'm adding 16 ounces of sliced mushrooms. Now add 2 packets of the au jus gravy mix and then a packet of ranch seasoning. And then you're going to add about 2 cups of beef broth. Now grab those pepperoncinis, and I'm adding about 10 of the pepperoncinis and then a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup of the juice. Just mix this up really well, and then I'm topping it with a 1/2 stick of butter all sliced up, and you're going to cook this on high for at least 4 hours. And we are also making some mashed potatoes with this one. I'm taking a 5-pound bag of russet potatoes. Just make these as you would normally make mashed potatoes. So peel your potatoes, chop those into cubes, fill with water, and then boil those until nice and tender. And while those are boiling, you're going to get that casserole dish ready. So grab a stick of butter that really well, and then add some grated Parmesan cheese to this. Then once those potatoes are done, you're going to drain all of that water, and then you're going to add 1 block of softened cream cheese, 1 cup of sour cream, and then I am adding some pepper and then some garlic powder, and then a couple tablespoons of butter, and then mash them up really well. And once those are nice and creamy, you're going to add those to your casserole dish. Just smooth those out really well, and then you're going to top it with more grated Parmesan cheese and then a few more tablespoons of butter on the top. I love those because you can make them ahead of time and then bake whenever you're ready to eat. I bake mine at 350 degrees for around 30 minutes or until just golden brown at the top like this. And then we serve those Mississippi beef bites and gravy over those mashed potatoes, and this was one of the best dinners ever. I hope you guys give this one a try. Let me know if you do. Tonight's dinner was incredible and really easy. First, grab a pound of ground chicken, and you're going to season that well with whatever you want really, but I'm using some pepper, some garlic and herb seasoning, and some garlic powder. Just mix this up really well and then set it aside. Then I grabbed one of those Caesar salad kits from the store, and you're just going to make this up as you normally would make your Caesar salad. And I'll just set this aside for later as well. And now I'm using a large electric griddle, but you could use just a large skillet here if you want to. Set that heat to about 350 degrees. Then take some street taco tortillas, and you're going to spread that chicken on one side of the tortillas, making it nice and thin. And then cook that for about 3 minutes. Then flip it over. Then add some Parmesan cheese to the top and cook it another minute or 2. Then just remove those from the pan. Ever since I made the smash burger tacos, everybody kept suggesting that I try these Caesar chicken ones. And thank you so much. These are amazing. Then once you're finished cooking all these, you're just going to top it with that Caesar salad from earlier and then enjoy. I highly recommend these. Everybody in my family loved them. Tonight's dinner was another really easy and delicious one. First, you're going to grab a large skillet and then cook about 1.5 pounds of ground beef, and if you want, you could do 2 pounds here. Now just grab whatever kind of seasonings you want to season that meat with. I'm using this onion and herb seasoning and then some pepper. Now grab a large bowl, and you're going to add these frozen shredded hash browns to that, and then you're going to add this whole container of French onion dip and then 1 can of cream of chicken soup. Just start mixing that up. And then you're going to go back to your ground beef and make sure to drain all of that grease and then add your seasonings in there. Now once that beef is cooked, you're going to add that to your potato mixture. And if you want, you could do sausage here instead. It's really good that way too. And now add 2 cups of shredded cheese. Mix that up really well until everything is nice and combined, and you're going to add this to a 9x13 pan. Smooth that out and top it with some French fried onions. Then you're going to cover, and you're going to bake this at 350 degrees for about 50 minutes covered, and then uncover it again for another 15 minutes. This French onion beef potato casserole is so good. Tonight's dinner was incredible. I made Mississippi beef angel hair pasta. It sounds a little weird, but it's absolutely amazing. First, to your pan, you're going to start cooking some ground beef. I'm doing 1.5 pounds, or you could go up to 2 pounds, I think. Then you're going to get a pot of water boiling for your angel hair pasta. Once that meat's about done cooking, you're going to drain all that grease. Then I added about 2 tablespoons of ranch seasoning and then 1 packet of au jus mix. Then I just tossed it up for a bit. Then grab some unsalted beef broth and add 1.5 cups of this. Just mix this up really well, and it should start to thicken right away. Then you're going to grab some pepperoncinis, and I added about 1/4 cup of that juice to that. And then I'm adding just a few of the pepperoncinis without the tops on them, and then mix it all up again. It should look like this whenever you get that all done. It is so amazing. If you want more sauce to that too, you could probably add another 1/2 cup. Then you're going to cook that angel hair pasta. I'm doing a whole pound. Once that's finished cooking, you're going to add that to your meat. Then just toss it up and you are ready to serve. Let's make a delicious one-pan dinner. First, start chopping up 12 ounces of bacon and then grab a large skillet and start cooking that. And then I took about 1.5 pounds of chicken and I cubed that really small to little bite-sized pieces. Then grab whatever seasonings you really want there. I'm using rotisserie chicken seasoning, some Slap Your Mama seasoning, and some onion and herb seasoning. Then I added a couple of tablespoons of cornstarch to that, and then you're going to toss it up really well and set it aside. And then you're going to shred up some cheese. I'm doing this whole block, but I'm only going to use about a cup of it. And make sure to keep tossing up that bacon. And then once it's nice and crispy and how you want it, you're going to remove it from the pan. Leave that bacon grease in there and you're going to add your chicken in. Cook that chicken at a medium to high heat and then flip it over after 3 minutes and then cook another 3 minutes and then just toss around for about 30 seconds. You want it to get a little crispy like this right here, and then you're going to remove that from the pan as well. Then to that same pan, you're going to add 12 ounces of whatever kind of pasta you want and then a carton of chicken broth. Well, really mine was about 3.5 cups of chicken broth. Toss that up until those noodles are finished cooking and that liquid has been absorbed. Then add 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of heavy cream, and then I'm trying out this Borsian cheese today and it was really good. I highly recommend. Then I added a cup of that cheddar cheese right here as well and just mix it up until everything is melted and nice and smooth. Now add that chicken in from earlier and then top it with your bacon, and I'm also adding some sliced green onions to the top. This one pan pasta was so good. I highly recommend. I hope you guys give this one a try. Let me know if you do. Tonight's dinner was easy and so delicious. First, you're going to grab a pack of pork chops. Then you're going to grab the seasonings that you're going to use. I'm doing a garlic and herb seasoning and an onion and herb seasoning. Take those pork chops and you're going to cube those up just like this into little bite-sized pieces. Now you're going to season them, and I also am adding some pepper to mine as well. When you get those seasoned well, you're going to add a tablespoon or so of some cornstarch. Just toss that up really well. Then grab a really large skillet and melt 1/2 stick of butter. While that's melting, you're going to make your sauce. I'm doing 1/2 cup of honey, a couple tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, and about 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1/2 cup of chicken broth, and then 2 tablespoons of minced garlic and about a tablespoon of cornstarch. Just whisk that up really well. Once that pan is nice and hot, you're going to throw those pork bites in there. Let those cook at a medium to high heat for 3 minutes and then flip them over for another 3 minutes and then toss around for about a minute. Then just dump that sauce in and then let it boil for just a bit and it should thicken right away. I'm serving mine over some white rice and then sprinkling some green onions on the top. These pork bites are amazing. I hope you guys give this one a try. Let me know if you do. When I was younger, my mom would always make this one and it is one of my favorites. First, grab 2 crescent roll dough sheets. Pinch those together and add them to a really large baking sheet. Mine was not large enough at first, so I did grab a larger one. You're going to bake this at 375 degrees for about 10 minutes until it's golden. Then you're going to let that cool all the way down. And now to a bowl, you're going to add 1 block of softened cream cheese and then 1 cup of sour cream. Make sure that cream cheese is really soft. Mine wasn't quite as soft as I'd like it. And this is definitely optional, but I'm adding a tablespoon or so of ranch and a little bit of Slap Your Mama seasoning. Just mix that up and then set it aside for a minute. And now you're going to shred up your cheese. I'm just doing Colby Jack, but you can really do whatever you want here. And now you are ready to assemble that taco pizza. Grab that cream cheese mixture and you're going to spread it all over the top. And then you're going to add some cooked taco meat to the top. I actually cooked mine the other night with nachos, but I purposely made extra, so it is cooled down. You're going to add about 1 pound to 1.5 pounds of that, and then add your shredded cheese, some shredded lettuce, some chopped tomatoes, and we're adding black olives, of course. That is optional. And then you just slice it up with a pizza cutter. And this pizza is served cold. It is absolutely amazing. I hope you guys give this one a try. Let me know if you do. Today I made the most delicious breakfast. If you love biscuits and gravy like my family does, you will love this one. First, start cooking 1 pound of sausage. Now grab a bowl and you're going to make this cheddar bay biscuit dough as your package directions say. And I went ahead and added that little seasoning packet that it came with to that mixture. Just mix this up and you're just going to set this aside for a little bit. And for that sausage gravy, you can really make it however you usually would make it, but this is how I'm making mine. Once my sausage was cooked through, I'm adding 3 tablespoons of butter. And then once that melts, I add 1/2 cup of flour to mine, and you're just going to mix this up as good as you can for about 3 minutes or so, and it'll look something like this right here. And then you're going to mix in 3.5 cups of milk slowly, and you can whisk this up here if you want to, but I didn't want to ruin my pan. Go ahead and season this well with some salt and pepper. That's all I use because that's all I think it really needs. And if you want that gravy thinner, you can always add a little bit more milk here too. And you're going to dump this into a small baking dish. I think mine's like a 10x6 pan, but an 8x8 pan would work too, or even a pie pan. And now you're going to add that biscuit dough mix to the top. I baked mine at 400 degrees for 25 minutes covered, and then I uncovered it for another 15 minutes. It should be golden and bubbly at the top. We will be making this breakfast all the time. It was such a huge hit with my family. I hope you guys give this one a try. Let me know if you do. Today I'm making one of the best little desserts. These are perfect for spring and so good. First, you're going to take a 24 pack of the sugar cookie dough and then put those in a mini muffin pan and bake as the directions say. And now we're making that fruit pizza topping. So first you need 1 block of softened cream cheese, 2 tablespoons of softened butter, a splash of vanilla, and then 1 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. Just mix that up really well until everything's combined. Now, right whenever those sugar cookies come out of the oven, you're going to make a little cup out of them, just like that. Then I actually place mine in the freezer for 5 to 10 minutes. Now all you do is just twist them and then they pop right out. Now grab that filling that you made earlier, and I'm using a piping bag and just filling them with those. And now you're going to cut up whatever kind of fruit you want. We always do strawberries, blueberries, and kiwi. Make sure you cut those into really small cubes. Now you're just going to add that fruit right on top. These little fruit pizza cups are so amazing. Fruit pizza has always been one of my favorite desserts, and these little personal size ones are so good and perfect for family occasions. I hope you guys give this one a try. Let me know if you do. Tonight for dinner, I'm making another really easy, delicious one-pan dinner. First, I'm grabbing 2 smoked sausage links, and then I'm slicing them up. I'm really only using 1 1/2 of them, though. You're going to grab this delicious garlic and herb butter, and then use half of this stick and put it in that pan at about a medium to medium-high heat. While that's heating up, you're also going to dice up 1 onion. Now, once that butter is all melted, you're going to add that sausage and that onion in your pan. You're going to keep sauteing this until everything is nice and browned and those onions are translucent. Now grab 1 pound of orzo and then throw this in, and then just toss it up in that butter that's left over. Then you're going to add this whole carton of chicken broth. If you'd like, you can season it with whatever you want. I'm just adding a little warmth by adding some Slapper Mama seasoning. After it starts boiling, you're going to turn on the heat for about 5 minutes until those noodles are cooked through. Then I just added a splash of half and half and then this Borsian cheese. This has definitely been my favorite to add to pastas lately. Just keep on stirring this and mixing it around until it's all melted. This dinner takes hardly any time and it is absolutely amazing. The kids love it also. This right here has been my favorite dinner all week. It is a 1-pan meal and it is absolutely amazing. First, I'm taking 2 New York strip steaks and then seasoned with some pepper and that Montreal steak seasoning. And then I am chopping up 2 bell peppers. I think mushrooms would have went so good in this one too. I just didn't have any. So I'm also doing a jalapeno. I just took out some seeds of that, and then an onion as well. Now you're gonna grab your large skillet and then add a little oil to that and then your steak. I was trying to go for a medium rare here, so I'm doing 3 minutes on each side. And then once that time was up, I added a few tablespoons of butter and then basted those steaks in butter for about 30 seconds. Now just take those steaks off to rest. Then to that same pan, you're gonna add a couple more tablespoons of butter. And you can turn down the heat to a medium here. And then once that butter is melted, you're gonna add your veggies in. Season them well with smoked paprika and Slap Your Mama seasoning. And if you don't want spicy at all, just change up the seasonings. I cooked those for about 5 minutes until the veggies are a little soft. Now, I'm using instant rice to go faster, so I'm doing 3 cups of instant rice and then just tossing that up really well, and then add 3 cups of beef broth and then crank up the heat. Once it's boiling, you're going to reduce the heat and cover it just for like 2 minutes and it's already finished. While that was cooking, I cut up my steaks and I did go a little over medium rare, but it's fine. Now I want my rice a little creamy, so I'm adding a half of a cup of heavy cream and then a half of a cup of Parmesan cheese. And if you want it creamier, just add a little more. And honestly, that rice was the best rice I've ever had. Now just top it with those steaks and enjoy. I absolutely am in love with this one. Tonight's dinner was another incredibly easy crock-pot dinner. This is some of the things you're gonna need right here. So I did those little baby potatoes, those real cute ones. And now I'm doing 2 smoked sausage links. I'm doing the Cajun style one, but you can do whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. And I'm doing 2 onions sliced as well. I am sauteing mine. I think it tastes a lot better when you do, but you don't have to. If you just want to throw everything in the crock-pot, that's totally fine too. So you're just adding a little oil to that pan and then trying to get that nice brown crust on them. Now go ahead and wash those potatoes and then add them to your crock pot. I am seasoning with that salt-free garlic and herb seasoning. It's one of my favorites. And then once that sausage and onions is about done, I'm adding a couple tablespoons of minced garlic. Once you can really smell that, add that all to your crock pot. Now just mix that up really well and then take that Kerrygold garlic and herb butter and put that right on the top. Cook that for 3 hours on high, and then after that time is up, you're gonna add about 12 ounces of fresh green beans. Then I added a little bit more of that butter and then let that sit for another hour. This one was so good. Tonight we're making the best crock-pot cube steaks. I changed my recipe up a bit from last time, and these came out even more tender. First, grab a skillet and start melting half of a stick of butter. And make sure to slice up 1 to 2 yellow onions as well. And now we're gonna grab all the seasonings for the cube steak. And this is what I'm using today. You can switch it up as much as you want. Now grab some flour and add about a cup to a cup and a half of flour to a separate bowl, and then all those seasonings. Once your butter has melted, you're gonna throw those onions in. Now mix up that seasoning really well, and then grab your pack of cube steaks. I'm doing 8 of them today. Now just throw those cube steaks in that flour and then set aside. And this is the step that is going to make those cube steaks nice and tender at the end. Once those onions are about done, you're going to put those in a separate bowl just for a minute, and then I'm adding a little bit more butter to my pan and then throwing those cube steaks in. I'm cooking mine for about 3 minutes on each side until they're nice and golden. And I am doing mine in batches. This does take longer than just throwing them in your crock pot, but they taste even better. Then you're going to grab that crock pot out and then add those cube steaks in. And if your pan still has some of that butter in there, go ahead and dump that in as well, and then add your onions. And I'm doing mushrooms with mine. You don't have to. And then I'm doing 1.5 cups of beef broth. I'm doing unsalted beef broth, and then 2 cans of cream of mushroom. And you could also switch out for cream of celery or cream of chicken, whatever. And then a packet of au jus mix, and you're gonna cook that for 5 hours on high. And for my simple mashed potatoes, we're just taking some store-bought mashed potatoes and then adding a half of a block of softened cream cheese, about a half of a cup of sour cream, some pepper, and some garlic powder. Just mix that up really well until everything is nice and incorporated, and then grab a small baking dish and then butter it really well, and then add some grated Parmesan cheese, and then add your mashed potatoes in there, smooth it out, top with more Parmesan cheese, and then some sliced butter on the top. Bake those mashed potatoes at 350 for about 30 minutes or until golden at the top. And if you want to, you can cook that cube steak on low too. It'll take about 8 to 9 hours, I think. We are putting those cube steaks on our mashed potatoes and then smothering it in some gravy. These were absolutely amazing. Tonight for dinner, we're having Perogi nachos again. We love these, and they are so simple to make. First, I'm grabbing a family-sized bag of frozen pierogies, and you're gonna put a little oil on those, and then season them up however you want. We're using taco seasoning and a little bit of Slap Your Mama seasoning. And if you see any bare spots on those, just spray a little more oil and seasoning on those. Now you're gonna grab a sheet pan. I always line mine with parchment paper just because it's way easier to clean up. And you're gonna lay those on your sheet pan. Bake those at 400 degrees for 15 minutes. And while those are baking, you're either gonna bake your taco meat, or I already had some left over from burrito night, so we're just using that. And then you're gonna shred up whatever kind of cheese that you want on your nachos. We are doing Colby Jack cheese. And now whenever your pierogies come out of the oven for the first time, you are going to flip those all over so they get nice and plump whenever you're cooking them. And then you're gonna cook them for another 15 minutes. And then once they come out, they'll be nice and plump like that. And now you're gonna top it with all your toppings. So I'm doing my taco meat first, and then all of that cheese. And then you're going to put this back in the oven for just 5 minutes or so until the cheese is all nice and melted. And then you just make your nachos pretty much however you want. You can add some lettuce to them, some sour cream, anything you want. I always put sour cream and then this Taco Bell kind of sauce on mine. These are so good. Our family loves them. I hope you guys do too. Tonight was another easy, simple, and delicious dinner. First, get a pot of water boiling for your tortellini. And then I'm grabbing a couple New York strip steaks, and you can do whatever kind of steaks you want here. Put a little oil on those and some salt and pepper. I'm cooking mine about 3 minutes on each side, going for a medium rare. Then I added a few tablespoons of butter and just basted that for 30 seconds to a minute or so. And then you're just gonna remove the steaks to let rest for a few minutes. And then you're gonna turn down this heat, and I'm adding about 1/4 of a cup or so of some beef broth to deglaze the pan. And then I'm adding a couple more tablespoons of butter. And once that butter is about melted, I'm adding 4 cloves of garlic chopped. And then I'm just cooking that for like 30 seconds. Then I added 1 1/4 cup of beef broth. And you can season here with whatever you want. I'm just adding some Italian seasoning. And then 1 1/2 cups of heavy cream. And make sure the heat is low right here. And then you're gonna raise the heat to a boil. Let simmer for a bit. And I did want mine a little thicker, so I added cornstarch slurry. I did 1 1/2 tablespoons with 1 1/2 tablespoons of water mixed, and then added that in. And then I added about a cup of freshly shredded Parmesan cheese. Then you can throw that tortellini in because it does not take long to cook. Then I added a couple handfuls of some spinach and just mix this up really well. And then I started cutting my steak. Now once that sauce is done to your liking, you're gonna throw that tortellini in and then mix it all up. And I'm topping mine with a little bit more Parmesan, red pepper flakes, and then that steak. This dinner was the best. I hope you guys give this one a try. Let me know if you do. Today I made a really easy and delicious lunch. First, you're just going to grab some tortillas and then add some roast beef to that, and then 2 slices of provolone cheese, and then sometimes I use Swiss cheese. I just did it this time and I don't really care for Swiss all that much anyway. Then you're going to grab a baking pan, and I lightly spray mine with a little bit of oil, and then you're going to lay those little wraps down in your pan. Then grab around 3 tablespoons of butter, and you're going to melt that in your microwave. and then I'm adding some garlic and herb seasoning to mine, and then this onion and herb seasoning as well. Just spread that all over those tortillas. Bake those in your oven at 400 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes, and I do like to put mine a little closer to the bottom of the oven so they get a little crisp on the bottom too. And while those are baking, I'm going to make up my little au jus packet. I'm just boiling mine in the microwave. And when those French dip roll-ups come out of your oven, make sure to let them cool down for a little bit, and then you are ready to enjoy. We love these for a quick and easy lunch or dinner, and we usually serve it with a side salad. I hope you guys love this one as much as we do. Tonight I made this absolutely delicious one-pan dinner. To start off with, you're going to take 1 or 2 pounds of chicken and then cube that up into small pieces. Now you're going to season well with some taco seasoning, some Slap Your Mama seasoning, some onion powder, and some garlic powder. If you don't want it spicy, don't add the Cajun seasoning there. Now you're going to grab a large skillet and then a half of a stick of butter. While that's melting, I'm going to start shredding up my cheese. I'm shredding up a whole block of Colby Jack cheese, but I'm only using 2 to 3 cups of it. And now once that butter has melted, you're going to add that chicken in. Cook that chicken at a medium to high heat for about 3 minutes on 2 sides. And once that's done cooking, you're going to set this aside for later. Now to that same pan, you're going to add a jar of your favorite Alfredo sauce. Then you're going to grab some chicken broth, fill that jar up twice with chicken broth, and then dump that in. Now you're going to add whatever kind of pasta you want to this. And you can go up to a pound of pasta here. I honestly thought I had a pound and realized it was 12 ounces, but it's fine. And you're also going to add a can of diced tomatoes with green chilies. Then add all of those same spices from earlier. Just toss that up really well and then let it boil. Let that boil for 8 to 10 minutes until the pasta is cooked through. Then once it is, you're going to add a cup of cheese at a time and just mix it until melted. Then add your chicken back to that pasta and top with green onions. This taco Alfredo pasta was amazing. Let's make another easy and delicious dinner. First, I'm grabbing around 2 pounds of stew meat. Now season this however you'd like really, but I'm using this steak seasoning and this onion and herb seasoning. Once that all is nice and seasoned, you're going to grab a large pan and you're going to add just a touch of oil to that, and you're going to sear that meat in that pan to have a nice crust to it. This will also help the meat get nice and tender in the end. Now add that meat to your crock pot. And now to that same pan from earlier, you're going to add a half of a stick of butter. Once that butter starts melting, you're going to add 2 sliced onions to this. Just toss this up and let it cook for like 10 minutes. Making my shortcut mashed potatoes, I'm taking a family-sized container of Bob Evans mashed potatoes, adding those to a bowl with a half of a block of softened cream cheese and a half of a cup of sour cream. And grab a pan and butter that really well and add some grated Parmesan cheese. Add those potatoes in there and you're going to top it with some more Parmesan cheese and then some sliced butter to the top. Making this in the morning too, so I'm just going to pop it in the fridge until ready to bake. Now once those onions are all finished cooking, you're going to add those to your crock pot along with a can of condensed French onion soup, about 2 cups of beef broth. I'm also adding around 16 ounces of sliced mushrooms to mine. You can always skip the mushrooms though. Put mine on high for around 5 hours. And if you'd like to thicken up that broth some, you could always add a cornstarch slurry to this. And you're going to cook those mashed potatoes at 350 degrees till golden brown at the top, usually around 30 to 40 minutes. I'm serving those French onion beef bites over those mashed potatoes.